You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School. Episode 219, Feng Shui True Stories. Welcome to episode 219 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Angie Cho and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. We teach Feng Shui online at mindfuldesignschool.com. You can check us out there at our website. You can also sign up for our mailing list there. We have special free workshops and different opportunities to ask questions. And all that can be found at our website at mindfuldesignschool.com. And in case you didn't know, we actually teach a Feng Shui certification program. And today we have a really special episode where we're doing a podcast panel with 3 of our program graduates. So Laura is going to tell you more about that.
Welcome, everybody. Hi, guys. Hi.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to introduce you guys in a sec. So yeah, as Angie said, this is the 3rd time we've done this recently, where we're doing what we're calling a podcast panel. We invite graduates of our program. They're all certified Feng Shui consultants from the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. And we're really happy to have them here. And we give them a question or a topic that we all discuss together. And it's been really fun. And it's been a really great way to, 1, showcase our grads, and 2, it's just nice conversations to have. So today we have with us on the panel, Sarah Geralds, and her handle for Instagram is Maybe It's Feng Shui. Deeds Haska, and her handle is Inner Groove, at Inner Groove. And then Lena Levas, and her handle is at Feng Shui Architecten. And we're going to link to all of these in our show notes, as well as in Instagram. We'll have a little link. And Feng Shui Architecten is Norwegian, because Sarah, where are you joining me from first? We'll go to Sarah. Sarah, where are you coming from?
Austin, Texas.
Okay. And Deeds, where are you coming from?
Today I'm in Crested Butte, Colorado.
Okay. And Lena, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from Norway.
Oh, see? Cool. Okay. So, and I'm going to spell Feng Shui Architecten just because it's Feng Shui and then Arkiteken.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, God. Nailed it.
I like the facial expressions.
I'm like,
when you did that.
it's like I'm trying to get it. Okay. Did it. So today's topic is Feng Shui's true stories. So we asked each of you to share something that is, I think, that speaks to the power of the practice. When you start to learn this modality, and when we've all kind of been on this Feng Shui journey, some of us are at different points in our journey. There comes times when, things happen. You're either it's to you personally, or maybe you're working with a client or something that you've learned, and you're like, okay, wow, this really does work, this practice. And could be an aha moment. It could be something that, an adjustment that you did or something. It's just, when you start to do the practice and you start to actually put it into place, there can be some surprising results and really fun things. And we sometimes forget about that. Feng Shui is a fun thing to talk about, and it's really can be quite complex. And we talk a lot about, the 5 elements, or moving this there, or cleaning this, or clearing that. But it's important to remember that at the heart of it, Feng Shui can really have a significant impact on your life. And that's why we're all here, right? So Angie, do you want to start the discussion group?
I will. So we're going to start with Sarah. So hi, Sarah.
Hi, Angie. Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor.
We're so excited to have all 3 of you. So could you please share with us a Feng Shui experience or story that both surprised and delighted you?
Oh yeah, I have a story. I mean, My journey with Feng Shui, I think, started in high school. You know, when there was a lot of, you couldn't control the things going on outside of your home. You know, you couldn't control your parents, your brother, your teachers, your schedule very much. But the place where I found a lot of balance was in my bedroom. And I remember having these wooden floors, and I would slide my furniture across the floors and rearrange things all the time and just feel the shifts. And it's a place where I found a lot of, you know, comfort and harmony. And I ended up getting straight A's and going off to college. And then I was originally pre-med, but I switched to becoming a film major because one of my professors introduced me to the idea of filmmaking and the art of placement on the screen. And that when we make movies, everything is intentional. You know, we all have movies and our favorite shows, and there's some scenes that like really evoke something from us. And how do they do that? You know, it's through lighting, it's through colors and shapes. And it all kind of like, it hit me, you know, it reaffirmed something that I just innately knew, you know, and I think it's about like the Feng Shui, but we're using it on the screen to affect our audience. So fast forward, I'm in LA, living the dream, working way too many hours, really going at the grind, trying to make it in the industry. But until you get on some really big shows, you're really in the trenches, you know, and I wanted that big break, that big career break. And I thought, what about Feng Shui? So I looked it up on the internet and I found something that's the Bagua, the energy map, and which you lay over your floor plan. And when I looked at the tiny apartment I was living in, my career and life path area happened to be my closet, which, like most of us, has a lot of stuff in it. And so it said the top of your closet should always be clear because that represents your future and the things that you are reaching for, metaphorically and literally. So I said, okay, I cleaned out my apartment or my closet, and up there on the top shelf, I wanted to put something that related to my career. And so I had an 8mm film strip of a zombie movie I made in college, and I put it in a clear picture frame, being a little cheeky about it. And the light shining through it is really pretty. So I put this zombie picture frame in the top of my closet. And it didn't take long at all. I was having lunch with a friend, and I was like, you know, I really want to get out of this grind. I want to work on a show that everybody knows, that they've all seen and love. I want to like be able to brag about my job. And I would love to move back to Austin because Austin inspires me. I want a home. I want a dog. I want some more life balance. And I get a phone call and they say, hey, Sarah, are you available to work on this date? And I said, yeah, that's the date I'm available to start. And they said, great. Would you like to come to Austin and work on Fear the Walking Dead, which a lot of people know? It's a really popular zombie TV show. And I thought, how ridiculous is this? I put a zombie film thing in my career center and got the call to work on a big zombie TV show in Austin, of all places. And so now here I am. My resume looks great. I have a home in Austin, and everything else is kind of the trajectory I went on has changed my entire life. You know, I'm in a good relationship. I have a beautiful home. I'm in a city that inspires me. And I still do a little bit of Feng Shui, or I mean, a little bit of film work, but it's mostly Feng Shui now because I totally believe in it. And I'm getting opportunities for other up levels in my career to even become an executive producer on something. So it's just one elegant, tiny little thing that I did changed everything. And that's what I think is really, really cool about this practice. It's like you can have fun with it. You could be cheeky with it. As long as you have an intention, like it can change everything. And it's really fun to see that play out in my life, but also with, you know, Feng Shui clients that I have and friends that I have that are doing Feng Shui, to see, you know, the amazing things that are happening to them too. So,
And did you want to share anything about the clients? Did you have some examples? Do you have
my
something?
gosh, I do. I have two. One client I've been working with since I started the course. So even before I had my website up, we've been working together about 14 months. This client was at rock bottom with everything. So we've been plugging at it. We renovated the bathroom, which is in their career and life path area. and they just signed a contract, a multi-million-dollar contract. They became a multi-millionaire overnight. It took 14 months of work, but overnight, multi-millionaire, and they were having a really good time shopping for houses right now, to say the least. Yeah, and I have another client who just told me that in his home, his house feels like a home, and chaos has become harmony. And him and his teenage son have bonded like they've never bonded before, actually talking about the concept of Feng Shui because he wanted to rearrange the furniture in his son's room. And he said it changed everything in his house. So I'm just really, really happy to hear stories like that coming from people.
Yeah, it makes it worthwhile, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
cool when you get client stories like that. And I think that's this practice. It's sometimes you can hear these like fantastic stories. I mean, it's amazing, money and all this stuff, and it's great. But I think at the heart of each of those stories that you talked about was this awareness. A lot of us kind of just walk through the world and don't think about these things. We don't think about how important our space can be to supporting us and to helping us reach our goals. But when you sit down and you start to actually focus on it, and as you demonstrated in your stories, like, Feng Shui gives you the tools where you can stop, reflect, see what that might be affecting, and then intentionally make an adjustment. And so it's pretty simple at the heart of it, but can be really powerful. And I think your stories were great. Thank you. I enjoyed them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And next up we have Deeds. So Deeds, could you please share with us a Feng Shui experience or story that both surprised and delighted you?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So the allure, or I'm going back to the beginning basically, but the allure, what drew me to Feng Shui was specifically the word energy. I was in a major year of fluctuation and transformation, and looking at it from a 9-star key perspective, I was in my 5-year. So this was 2020. And so, of course, the whole world was also experiencing, major change as a collective. But at the time I was working as an interior design consultant, which was a new career path for me. So I was still feeling it out. And I happened to be scrolling on Instagram and I saw the words "where energy meets design." I felt an instant connection to it. And that's when I met you guys. So a couple months later, I had my first Feng Shui consultation with you, Angie. And because of the timing the world was in isolation. So it was a little bit to my advantage that I was able to turn the noise down and let distractions and those outside influences sort of fade away. And I was able to, with your guidance in that consultation, tune in and make some major shifts in my life. So I began to quickly draw more helpful people into my life. I was able to establish some boundaries and really began to gain some clarity. So since then, things have changed. And I think what has mostly changed is my home. I have moved into a different space, but it all started in the home where I was at the time. But the program for me, so after, binge listening to the podcast and taking in as much free content as you and Laura have to offer, I finally joined the certification program. And, it'll be a lifelong practice for me, but I was able to take a diver deep into Feng Shui. So I've definitely taken other certification courses, and I just have to say that this one is legit. It exceeded my expectations. You guys did everything, absolutely everything you said that you were going to do and more. So I still, even as a graduate of the program, find myself every Monday morning jumping in my car, psyched to go to work so that I could listen to the podcast. So I'm such a nerd, but I'm just like, it's my best friend is funny. She says it's because it came so not that it came quickly to me, but the practice just seemed so familiar and I just took it in so quickly. She said it was like a soul remembering, like from a past life, which I think is cool. I just have that strong connection to it. So, and we just, I appreciate the knowledge and wisdom that you both have generously, passed on to me and all of your students. So, yeah.
No, it was great. Thank you, Dees. Now, okay, so you were, I don't want to say you were client, because you remember you were in all of our like little workshops and all these things, and it was great. And we knew you, right? And then you finally joined the program, which was amazing. So you started with that consultation with Angie, that you did some specific adjustments, and then did that kind of awaken you to saying, I'm going to do this now, shifting your kind of direction? Or did you think like, was it the beginning, or?
Yeah, there was some spark that happened, and I had been doing a little bit of the work already, but as things started to gain momentum and happen, I didn't even like at the time, I didn't even realize like, oh, that's the work, that's the feng shui, but it wasn't like over the past few years, it was easy. I mean, I had to do all the work, right? We still have to do the work. There's no, magic wand or anything like that. But yeah, basically I just started to see, things that were my focus and that I was working on, I started to see slowly come to fruition. But what I do have to say, and I tell my clients this now, is when we're setting these intentions is not to limit yourself, to have an open heart and an open mind. And that's really what I had to do. And, just allow, some patience as well and grace along the way.
Yeah. Because you don't really know how it's going to show up, right? You kind of have to be open for it.
Yeah. And I don't want to put you on the spot. But is there any specific adjustment you did maybe that stood out to you that really seemed like a big aha or interesting impact that you can think of that you'd share with us?
Do you want me to share the specific adjustment you gave me?
Sure, if you think so. I mean, if it's a transcendental one, you can kind of generalize it.
Okay. Well, again, I was probably my whole life, I've just had a really difficult time asking for help of others and accepting help from others. So I think one of the adjustments that you gave me at the time really opened me up to begin to draw more helpful people into my life. And that was everything, especially at that time.
I wish I could remember what I told you.
It's probably connecting heaven and earth, right?
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they don't, I mean, if you know, you know, if you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't know. So
Right.
it's okay. You're not giving anything away.
Right. And it was interesting because now that I've learned more from you guys, you did have me set it up in my office space, which is different from other situations. So, and that's again, just, from the outside, I'm sure people looking in, even close people to me, probably are like, oh yeah, nothing changes much with Jeets or whatever. But internally, I'm on the inside looking out, and my whole world has changed in that time frame.
Yes, we've all drank the Kool-Aid here. And we're never looking back.
Yeah.
We're just warning people.
Right. And what's amazing now is the fact that I get to share it. And so now seeing some of my clients, I'm giving, providing them with guidance and feng shui adjustments and things like that. And to see their results as well is, it's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. And like Laura touched upon, like we would see you, you'd come to all of our free things. You did some class consultations, and I kept saying like, Laura, when is she going to join? I'm like, and I remember there was one class where it wasn't full. So I sent you a little note, and it wasn't the right time for you. And when it was, you did join, and we were so glad that you did, because we really knew that this was something that resonated with you deeply. And we just saw your face just showed up all the time, and your name showed up all the time. And so we're just so glad that now you're part of our family.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's really great to be in this community.
Yes, and I hope to see you more on Wednesdays.
Yes, I hope so too. And by the way, like for any of your listeners who are, dabbling in feng shui right now, I was not looking to study a new modality. I wasn't looking for teachers. I've it literally just came to me at the right time. So much less two teachers, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
feel
people say
like with
that.
you, it was definitely like it was something that it was like you were being not reeled in by us, but I could see you were
Mhm.
being reeled in, and you just couldn't like you couldn't ignore that this was, like you said, like maybe it was a remembrance, something that was very close to you. So Lauren, I could see that even before you joined the program.
Well, thanks so much, you guys. I can't say enough about the program and everything that you do.
Well, thank you so much,
Thanks, Deeds.
Deeds. So next up, we have beautiful Lena from Norway. And Lena, can you please share a feng shui experience or story that both surprised and delighted you?
Sure. Okay, I'll tell a little bit about my story. So I got introduced to feng shui in 2008 by my mom. And then life went on. I didn't think about it as something that I needed. More, it was like her thing. And in 2019, I came over it again, and by then I had a career as an architect. I had 2 children. I had a dog. I had a husband, and life was like looking good. But I didn't feel like I was complete in where I was or what I was doing, and I really wanted to do something else. And then I felt like feng shui sort of captured everything that I really loved, and just uh, everything put into one practice. So in 2020, I booked a consultation with Laura, like a class consultation. I was not part of the program or anything. So I recently went through my intake form. And when you book a consultation, you can sort of write down 3 wishes, like what you wish the universe, or what are your desires in life. And I went through them, and in the consultation, Laura gave me adjustments to work with them, and it was so cool because everything on that list is now accomplished. And one of the adjustments was my career, because I really wanted to like change it, do something else, but that could incorporate sort of the things that I already knew and already had been doing. So I remember at that time I was at the home office, and we looked at my placement, and we found out that maybe I should have a separate room for my career. And I remember we looked at my floor plan and found another space. And I was like literally in the process of buying a new desk and setting everything up. And then out of the blue, a friend called me, or I already knew, but I didn't know it was available, that there was an office available. Because one of the things you told me was that if you're serious about your career, you should do something about it. So I just, yeah, I really called in all these changes, and then and also on that list was to be part of the program, have some mentors, and yeah, things worked out. In 2020 I signed up for the course. In 2022 I graduated. Yeah, now this is my full-time job, being a feng shui consultant, and I love it.
You've done you were in the newspaper in Norway. And Sarah, I know you were also, we're going to ask you something in a second too. Sarah was too. You were in, what is the newspaper, the Norwegian newspaper you were in?
VG, Verdensgang, VG.
That's like the main newspaper there, right?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest newspapers.
Yeah, it's very cool. And there's like a big profile. Of course, I couldn't understand any of it, but it looked fantastic and fabulous. Yeah, I remember that consultation. I remember you, and I was so excited that you were in Norway. And you know, one thing about your consultation, which I'm going to talk about here, which is another kind of a feng shui aha thing, is that I remember is, and I bring this example up because sometimes when we look at lots and like lot shapes, and kind of a more advanced way to look at things is to look at the shape of things, right? Like, can you see a shape in something? Like, oh, that looks like a butterfly, or that looks like whatever. And, you know, and then being inspired by that, and then maybe doing adjustments that reflect on it. And so because of where you live, from what I can remember, and it's funny, I remember a lot about because I do a lot of them, but I remember it pretty vividly. Your lot shape is quite odd shaped because you live in a very naturalistic, like beautiful, like on the water, like Norway, it's gorgeous. But when we looked at it, it was the shape of a fish. And then we had it so that, you know, there was all these beautiful woods that were like feeding the fish. And like, I think we talked about like maybe like, you know, putting an eye on the fish, so to make it more of a fish. And it was just really cool to like feed that abundant goldfish that we envisioned. And that's an example I tell a lot of students, because it's a really good example of looking at, you know, shape and being inspired when you're doing the consultation. So I love hearing that stories, but that consultation was one of my feng shui ahas when I looked at that lot. That was really cool.
And I also remember, Lena, because when you did that consultation with Laura before you became a student, and then when you joined the program, we switched off because I already knew Laura did your home, so then I did your home during the certification, and then I asked you to make a big change, well, not only change the color of your office, but also change the color of your bedroom. And so did you do that?
Yeah, I worked it not with the colors, but with the elements, like the shapes and some of the colors. Yeah. And that also was a big aha moment for me, learning how to balance the elements. And now I play around with it so much. And I think because when I tell people that I work with Feng Shui, I think in Norway, maybe people like will associate it to maybe like a Chinese restaurant. They think of fountains but that's why it's cool to have all my design skills. So instead of telling someone to have a water fountain, I will use the water element in a design feature, so it will look kind of cool and modern. But I also emphasize that, of course, Feng Shui is not like a interior style, but you can use it in your design to sort of enhance your dreams and your desires.
Yeah, and then you have that beautiful photo of you where you painted your office this really lovely purple color, right? Can you tell us how you picked that color?
Yes. So the purple color is for abundance in Feng Shui, and also it's the color of the gua, like in the energy map, the area for wealth and abundance. So when I looked at the floor plan of the whole building where I'm having my office, I'm sitting together with other entrepreneurs. It was actually in that area. So I really wanted to enhance it. So I painted it purple. And another cool thing is that we were supposed to have an open house. So 2 days before, I just changed the angle of my desk, and I told my coworkers that, okay, this is cool, let's see what's gonna happen now. And the day after, I appeared in the newspaper. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah,
you totally called it in.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah.
Sarah, you have a story too, because you were recently in a good publication as well, the Houston Chronicle, right?
I got a surprise phone call out of the blue from Kyrie O'Connor, who's an editor for the Houston Chronicle, and she was doing a feature for the Lunar New Year and reaching out to Feng Shui specialists, and she found my name. I believe it was either on your directory or the International Feng Shui Guild's directory. But I was in good company with a few other Feng Shui artists as well. She was asking us all for our different perspectives on the New Year, which is really interesting because everyone who practices a different style of Feng Shui or has different experiences comes with different superstitions, different practices. But yeah, it was really an honor to be featured in an article. It was the first time I felt like I was breaking out and being seen.
Yeah, you've been really lighting your fire chi up lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to close with one last story from Sarah, because I know Sarah has a really great personal story about plants, except leave off the other, you know what part I'm telling you to leave off on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But do you want to share?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we can tell this story.
Oh, well, no, leave that part off. Just say that you just talk generally about it. Or no,
Can I
you
tell
don't.
you something can I tell you something that you'll edit out that you won't post?
No, we can't edit it out. But here, well, you can't tell it without that part?
Well, okay. Lighting up my fire chi. Angie gave me a feng shui cure once because I was afraid to step out and get visible and get seen. And she said, my back porch was an extension of my fame and reputation area of my floor plan. So why don't I go plant 9 plants from seed and see them grow? And when they come to fruition is when I'll feel ready to be seen. And so I did that practice. And yeah, I guess it took, a whole season, but I had that intention watching the plants grow, and they sprouted within like 2 to 4 days, Angie. Like those seeds were so ready to be born. So those plants grew, and yeah, here I am. It was really helpful for that, to get me out here and more comfortable being visible. I needed some time. I needed a season.
Good. And you can tell us backstage when we turn off the recording. You can finish your story and tell Deeds and Lena. But what's so interesting is, like, Laura and I were talking how we've done this for a while now, and we're just always so amazed at like all these wonderful stories that we hear from the graduates and all these life-changing experiences that people have. So thank you, the 3 of you both, for sharing your stories with us. And Laura, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think it was really good. I like that that we got Sarah giggling there at the end, and we put her on the spot. We just, we put gasoline on her fire chi. No, it was good. I think you guys were all great. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. They were really good.
Deeds, did you want to add anything? You just unmuted. No?
No. Yeah. No, thank you guys. As you know, and I know Sarah and Lene don't know, but I had a horrible stage fright of Zoom when I began the certification program. And one of the things that I was working on with Laura for my class consultation was communication. So yeah, I was pretty nervous for this. So thanks for getting me out of my comfort zone.
Good. And you know what I say in class, you have to turn on your I made all of you turn on your cameras, right?
Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much, listeners, for listening to this episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every week for a new podcast episode. And if you like the podcast and this episode, please share it with others. You could subscribe, leave a review. You can always support the podcast by checking out our certification, just like these 3 beautiful ladies did. And we'd love to have you. We have a certification starting very soon. It's going to be the last one for 2023. So we hope to see you in class. You can check it out by visiting mindfuldesignschool.com. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.